Hi, Adeze here. So this is a walkthrough video for a solar installation business where they are looking to take data from monday.com to Google Sheets using make.com. So when the automation runs and data are moved to the completed installation, they want the data that are in the completed installation to move here. I didn't map everything. The person in charge of wanting to look at this just needs the code ID, the client name, phone number, and all of that. Not everything on the board is necessary to him. He doesn't want the workload, who is assigned to the task. That's not his problem. But the challenge here now is that when the client's name are being imputed here, maybe from the form they fill or from whatever they are trying to do, the names are imputed with the code ID, the name of the client, and their phone number. But the person who wants it in the Google Sheet wants the code ID to be in a column on its own, client's name and phone number, and doesn't want it to come out the way it's looking here. So we're going to walk through how I fixed that using make.com. So in my make.com, I've already set up my automate my integration, because this is just a walkthrough video. I've added my monday.com trigger where it watches for group items, because this is the group it's in, completed installation. So I've already picked the group ID and I've mapped all the necessary fields from all the necessary columns rather from the board of Monday into the trigger here. So this is where it gets interesting. Inside here, I use a set variable because the name comes, if I try to map it, if you can see, the name comes the way it's exactly in the board, the code ID, the name, and the phone number. So I have to separate them. And what did I do? I use a split function, which I got from here. Yeah, this is a split function. So after getting the split function, this was how it looks like. Let me just quickly do that now. So I picked the split function and I came to this place and mapped the name. But what did I do? I came to this other place and put this dash, because that dash is the separator that is separating each of these code ID from the name and the phone number. But this is the problem. This phone number you've seen here, the last two sets of digits at the back that has a dash are a complete phone number. You know how some phone numbers come with dash between them? I had to do that sample so that you understand what I'm trying to say. So if we use the dash, if we separate this into a bundle that separates the name, the code ID, and the phone number, now this phone number that is supposed to be full will now come into two. So this is what I did. So after saving it, I came into the set multiple variables. So I mapped if you look at the name mapping, it came with just one. It did not. It put all the name mapping as one. Let me try to run just this one. I will choose where to start from and choose manually so that I don't exhaust or misuse the operations rather. So let me just run once so that you see. So if you look at this, it came. This is the number one here is the code ID, the name of the client, and these are the phone numbers. So if I was to map this, you'll see that it's coming up just the number alone. It's not bringing out all the options, and that's because it came as a bundle. Now we have to break those bundles into individual entities. So I mapped. So if you look at here, this is when I try to do the name mapping in the set multiple variable. I'm going to number it according to their position. So if I want the code ID, that will be position 1. If I want the client's name, that will be position 2. And if I want the phone number, that's 3 and 4. And that is why I'm using the set multiple variable. So look at it. Now, why you're seeing this name mapping is because that's what I named my first variable. Here I just, because it's a multiple variable, I'll have to name each of the variables that I want it to bear for each one. So the first one is that I want the code ID, and the code ID, like I mentioned before, takes position 1. So I'm going to just clear this position 1 and show you what I did. So instead of clicking just this like this, which will not give me what I want, I clicked in this drop down and picked the one that gives me space to map the specific column I want. So after I do that, I go to that space and put 1 there. That's the position for code ID. The same thing was done for this one. I click on that specific one and it gives me room to pick number 2 for the name. Don't forget, number 2 here under the output is the name. Now for the phone number, this is where it gets interesting, because I'm looking to have the phone numbers all together. What did I do? I still mapped this and mapped again, but this time I had to do it in order. So the after 2 is 3, so I put 3 here and put 4 here. So what will happen in this last one is that when it comes out as an output, it's going to join the 2 phone numbers that were separated by that separator dash that we used as one. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see the results. So let me just say that quickly. I'm going to unlink this so that you see the output when I run it. So let's check. Let's pick where to start from. Choose manually. I'm just going to pick anyone here, and then let me pick the first one. I'm going to run it once so that you see the output. Now this is the output. Can you see? The code ID is on its own, the name is on its own, and the phone number has been concatenated together as one. That is what the set multiple variable does for you when you're looking to bring 2 things together. So now we want to map it into the Google Sheets. So here is my Google Sheet. I've already mapped it so I don't waste time. Picked the Google Sheet and the sheet name. So just to understand, this is Make Practical under the Monday tab. So that's what I have here. It asks if it has an header. Yes, it does have an header, which is all these ones. I've already freeze that row. So I now come here, and yeah, this is now where I map my. So if you look at it, it has separated it, but the first set variable we use, which is not the multiple variable, did not give us the room to map it properly. It puts all the things that we divided into one. So I had to use the set multiple variables to divide them into bits so that it's easier to map. And as you can see, code ID goes into code ID, name goes into name, phone number goes into phone number, and I go ahead to map the other ones that are not quite an issue for me. These ones are straightforward. So if I want to, instead of scrolling through, I'll just search for stage, and when I get the stage, I pick the one that is the text, because this additional info is under stage here. So I just pick the one that is text so that it comes out properly. Same as status, milestone status. Yeah, so I picked the one that is text instead of the one that is label, and I just mapped it, right? So I save. Now let's check again to be sure. This sheet is empty, so we're going to run it and we're going to see what it looks like. So if you check from the board, I already have 3 values here. So let's just, choose where to start from, and I'm going to choose all. And because this is a test run, I'm not putting it on for 15 minutes. I'm moving these things because I don't want to wait for 15 minutes and waste our time and begin to show when status is, when it's moved to the other board, it now moves here. This is just a test run. When this test run works, it shows that it can work when you put it at the 15 minutes interval. So let's go. Can you see? This is showing and entering perfectly, just like it's in the board. So look at the board. This third one has no value. That is why it has no value here, right? So you can see how it entered into the board. So that's how you can manipulate That's how you can manipulate data from your monday.com that looks like it's all together and you are looking to break it down. So if this were separated by a comma instead of a dash, in my separate set variable here, I would have put that comma here to separate it. So there are situations where people have emails, and in that email you're looking to separate things that are separated by commas. Maybe you have multiple emails all packed up together and they're separated by a comma, and you're looking to make them individuals and you want to put them as individuals in a CRM or a Google Sheet, whatever. You can use the split function in the set variable using the comma separator. In this case, the dash is the separator. So I hope this helped you to understand that you can manipulate and use these tools very, very well, and it will give you a beautiful result than you think. So until next time, I'm Adaisy and I'm your AI automation specialist. Do take care.